Greetings, survivors and friends. SHADOWFRAX here with your latest Rust news, and today we have leaning, jawlines, and mobile apps. But first, if the frenzied pounding of ivory, plastic, and bone makes it hard for you to do any solid relaxing, then you may want to steer clear of the chill zone in the compound when the next patch domain hits on December the 5th. However, if you don't intend on owning the new musical DLC, but you'd still like to enjoy the finer points of alfresco acoustic hostility without the risk of being domed, then this edition will be right up your alley. Until an auto-turret with musical taste is introduced, of course. The scientists, who at this point must be either masochists, extremely bored, or tone-deaf, have orchestrated a stage within earshot of the vodka where you can flail wildly at the three static instruments from the DLC, the piano, drums, and xylophone, without ever having to pay penny one to face punch. What a benevolent bunch these devs are. You will have to provide your own cowbell though. In addition to this, tweakage has occurred to the instruments in general over the last week, with some issues having been addressed surrounding notes cutting out if too many players were vying for airspace at the same time. There are only so many sounds that can be played at once, of course, so there are limits. However, sound priorities were rejigged to hopefully make small orchestras more achievable, and your personal instrument should now be super high priority, so you should always be able to hear every note when you blow your own trumpet. In other news, you know how I've mentioned before about a mysterious branch called Comp that was being worked on, and which could have been short for all sorts of things. Computer, compromise, compost? Well, it turns out that it was actually exactly what I thought it was going to be, and a companion app has been confirmed to be in the works for Rust. What we can glean at the moment from the commits is that this will allow for remote team chat at least, but the exact extent of its functionality is still under wraps, along with a date for its implementation. What I can say with certainty is that soon there'll be absolutely no escape from Rust in the real world, if you actually go there anymore. But I'm sure this new power will be used responsibly to ensure that relationships remain intact, and that getting back to the PC as quickly as possible to defend your base will be done in a totally safe and mature manner. There have been various plugins that allow for this sort of thing, of course, but what kind of functionality would you like to see in an official Rust app? Let me know, please, in the comments. There were some improvements to Free Look this week on staging. Firstly, your leggy weggies and body will politely disappear when pressing Alt so that nothing gets in the way. Also, the Free Look camera is much nicer to use, and an amount of lean has been built in when mounted on a vehicle so that looking to the side and down will enable you to see over the edge of whatever you're sitting on. Continuing with the theme of improving quality of life for admins, some more new commands were added this week, including Team Info, followed by a Steam ID which will show who else is on a person's team. Very handy, that one. And 3 commands for movement, which are, firstly, no clip speed, which can be set to a value, and no clip speed slow / no clip speed fast, which can also be adjusted for extra control. A ban reason will now be shown when rejecting banned players from joining a server, and admin time, a command I mentioned last week that sounds like some kind of tea break, but that actually allows admins to see everything in daytime even when it's pitch black. Actually has a couple of extra functions. Firstly, you can specify the time you want to see the world in if you're an admin with admin time, followed by a value between 0 and 24, and secondly, you can use it to modify the time of day during a demo playback. Very handy for cinematographers, if you know what I mean. Oh, and to revert to the normal server time, just use admin time -1. In optimizations, further to their recent LOD upgrades, monument meshes are now being optimized, so hopefully, along with the other efforts I've mentioned this month, you should see some improvements in performance when running around them come the next patch. Hopefully. There's still lots of work going on with the HDRP graphics overhaul, and it seems there'll be a number of changes to procedural island generation with it too. Still no date in sight though. Same story with vehicles, the excitement for which is mounting. And Gary has been experimenting with our skeletons again, with the intention of making things fairer. I can't show you the full Monty of this image on YouTube sadly, but you can check it out on his Twitter. I'm sure the end results will be totally sensible and nothing like Ark, so don't take these too seriously. They're just the eggs that are being broken at the moment to make the Rust omelette. No. But it would be fun to see certain things grow or shrink depending on player behaviour or team size, for instance. Leave me your suggestions below. Lastly, the Black Friday sale is on over at the merch store, 40% off everything while stocks last, and you don't even need a code. I would be grateful if you could use my link below when you buy anything there though, as it will help me out. And it's that time of year again where you can vote for Rust in the Steam Awards, if you like. It's currently up for a Labour of Love award. So there. Right, follow me on Twitch where I stream thrice a week. Headbutt the like and subscribe buttons, throw the notification bell over a rainbow because it's next to useless, and support this channel's growth in whichever ways you can. Talking of which, I've got a Patreon, if you didn't know, and all the cool people to the right here use it. You can stay up to date with me on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group, and I shall catch you all soon. But in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.